I talked a lot about that topic, but I have never talked about that. Yeah, I don't think anybody really tells you about it. That there's always going to be reverse culture shock or that you'll never feel at home again. It's important to talk about it so that other people can make their informed decisions. I feel like it's really hard to understand that if you haven't been in that position. So, hello, and welcome back to another video of mine. And yeah, today I want to talk about what nobody tells you about moving abroad or having moved abroad. Well, first, a little disclaimer. I definitely don't want to say with this that you shouldn't move abroad or that you shouldn't go abroad for some time during your studies, for a work placement, a placement in general, or maybe just a holiday or a vacation. But I'm talking more here about things like moving there, studying there. I think it's a very beautiful thing to be able to move somewhere else that's very far away, or maybe not even that far away, but still not your home country. It can also be very hard, and especially I feel like having done that, it can get harder. The more you do it, the more you want to do it, the more homes you have, the more people you know that live in different places, the more things you know that are good in one place and worse in another place, and then better in another place, worse in another. Like, yeah, you compare countries, continents. It's just a very sometimes unsettling idea that you then go back to your home country. I've recently seen a lot of people talk about this on Instagram. They are talking about reverse culture shock, which I actually learned about during university because I was researching something, and it basically means that you get the same thing that you get when you go to a new country or a new continent. It's called culture shock because everything is new. Of course, that really depends where you go, and also that kind of term can be criticized, but in general, this idea is still there because it's a different place. And when you go back home, you experience a kind of reverse culture shock because you've lived so long in a different place than your home country and your hometown, and when you eventually get back to your birthplace, your home, it doesn't really feel like home anymore, and it can feel like that for a long time. And maybe it will never go away, maybe it will go away quickly. It depends on the person, it depends on your experiences, and also what you make out of it. And I think it's easy then to just idealize and glamorize your time abroad, but most of the time you still had downs on the other side of the world or in a different country. Even if you might not recount them all, or even if you think they were much less big than some memories that you had from your home country. But then again, you also lived in your home country for a way longer time than in this new country. And sometimes you might think, oh, it would be so nice to live in that place that I've lived for a year or something. But like, in the end, would it really be? Because you've only lived there for a year. Of course, people find a new home like that, and I really don't want to say anything like that. Like, you can find a new home, you can find a place that feels so much more like home to you, and even if you don't, it's still a very good thing to experience. There are so many benefits that you get from traveling, which I will probably talk about in another video, or moving abroad, just in general, that topic. but it still is very different from actually living at that place and actually living there for a while and for a longer time. I recently heard a girl talk about that. She was asked whether she could see herself moving to a specific country, and she was like, well, if that place was closer to here where I'm living now, or I don't know, but right now, no, she doesn't, because her life is here. And I think it really clicked kind of in me, because for a long time I had the struggle inside of me that I wasn't sure where I was gonna live. And obviously, like, I'm still very young, that can still change, and I still don't know 100%. And even if you decide on a country, there are still so many places, so many cities, so many towns, villages, whatever, wherever you want to live. There's still so much choice, especially nowadays, and also depending on where maybe you even find a job, that sometimes also really plays a big role in our lives. Sometimes you don't really think about that, and I just wanted to kind of talk about that because for me there was a lot of struggle inside of me. It always came back for me to the fact that for me the most important thing in my life is the people in my life, and the people are my family and my friends, and most of them are here, and my whole family is here, and then some friends are living somewhere else. So if I decided to really live far away from here, then I couldn't see them as often, and that would mean that the most important thing was, which is the people, it wouldn't be the most important thing anymore, which is a matter of priorities. They can also change over time. You can also say that you do video calls and that that's okay for you as well, and you schedule them regularly. Or if it's not that far away, maybe they can visit you by car, by plane, by train, ship, I don't know. But the longer the plane ride is, especially, the more difficult it gets, and then you really have to decide where is your life, and not just part of your life, or not just the exciting things, but like your actual life. Like, what do you want out of life? Who do you want to spend it with? And what's most important for you? And I think maybe that will always be a struggle then, because you also know how it could also be. There are so many different directions that your life could go, so you never really know. Like, you could choose this way one day and then end up somewhere completely different than if you chose the other way, and you just at one point have to decide on that. And there are so many decisions that you could do instead, and yeah, at one point you just have to decide. And I think if you've lived abroad for a while, you might have that on your mind forever. Like, how would it be if I actually lived there? I feel like, especially the more you do move, the more you do travel and live outside of your home country, the harder it gets to actually get back and stay in your home country. But I also feel like it's never too late. Even if you decide at one point that you're done with that and that you want to go back to your home country, it doesn't mean that there's always going to be reverse culture shock, or that you'll never feel at home again there. Because if you really want something, it can also work. But I think it can be more difficult because obviously your vision is so much broader. You've seen so many things and you know what's good and what's bad. And not that people who haven't done that don't see that. I'm not saying that. It's just, if you've lived that life, then it can be hard to go back to another version, which can feel like that. It can feel like it's an old version of your life. I don't know if my thoughts are making any sense, but yeah, I just lately had that on my mind. And I think because so many people are traveling nowadays, and I think that's really good. I think all of these experiences are very good to build your own character, and like I said, they have so many benefits, which I will talk about in another video. And I'm also talking about everything like that here on my channel, and I've experienced all of that. And it's not me saying that that isn't good. Like, trust me, that's definitely not the point. But it's just me saying that sometimes it is really idolized, or everybody is seeing it as such a big thing, such an important thing in a person's life, and like everybody has to do it nowadays, and everybody's posting about it. And yeah, it's also okay if you decide to stay in one place or in one country. Sometimes it's not in one place really, it's just in a country, and that's then really not one place. And it's okay to do that, because if you're content with where you're at, and if you don't have that need, then you don't have to do that, because sometimes then it can also make it harder for you, because you've experienced more of life and you feel like you have even more choice. But then again, if you feel like doing that, you should. And you shouldn't worry about how you feel when you get back. You will figure it out. And sometimes it can be very hard, like you have your heart in one place and then also in another place, because not only because of the place, but maybe also because you get to know people at that place. And yeah, like I said, for me, it's also the people, and life is about people, and well, the people that are in your life, not about just random people. Like in some jobs, it is about people that you don't know, but in general, it's, I mean, the people that are close to you. Yeah, I'm really struggling to actually express myself and tell you what I'm actually thinking, because I feel like it's really hard to understand that if you haven't been in that position. Sometimes it can also be that you never had a home in a place, like you've never thought that place is my home, but you've just lived there and you've never really thought about it. But I feel like moving abroad can open your mind to so many new things and experiences and possibilities, and it can make it hard sometimes. And I recently also watched a video by Sorel, and she talked about that kind of feeling. I think it's a bit more extreme, like I haven't felt exactly like that because I haven't moved that often or lived like that, but just the general idea is what I also kind of want to express in a different way. But yeah, if you want to know more about this topic, or if you aren't sure if you've understood me, which I don't hope, I hope it was still clear, then you can also watch her video. I really liked it. It just helped me to feel less alone. In the end, that's all that matters, like to be not alone sometimes, and to know that there are other people going through that and experiencing that. And maybe also it's important to talk about it so that other people can make their informed decisions about their choices in life and decisions that they have to make. And yeah, I hope I kind of helped you with that, or just let you know that you aren't alone if you're feeling that way. I would also really be happy to read some comments of you maybe experiencing similar feelings, thoughts. Maybe you have decided to move abroad. Maybe you have also decided to stay in your home country. Maybe you have never thought about either of these things, like to decide between one of these, because you've always known. Yeah, whatever you experienced, I would really be happy to know. It's always interesting to me. So yeah, see you soon, and bye.